This is just human nature. If you start to measure something, if you start to notice, then you start to care. I got to thinking, we have a scarce resource here in California, water. Why not apply some of those exact same methods to that? That's exactly what we did. I think it starts with the actual information. So we talked about trying to find out how much water you actually use. A monitoring system. You're starting to see smart meters go out into the world. They're slow and they're certainly not everywhere. But there's new types of monitoring systems that you can buy, and that's exactly what we're doing, that you can put onto your water meter that gives you down to the gallon visibility. And then there's an app that you can look at it and you go, hey, look, I used 80 gallons of water this morning in the shower. You can actually get that data. This is just human nature. If you start to measure something, if you start to notice it, then you start to care. It's true with food. When I want to lose weight after holidays and stuff like that, I say, maybe I'll start tracking what I eat for a few weeks and seeing maybe that salami sandwich isn't really going to help me too much. And you look at the calories and you go, yikes, maybe I shouldn't have that, or maybe I should only have half. Because you get the data. Same with water. That's what happens is typically when you install a monitoring system, you start to look at it and you go, holy cow, I'm using a lot of water. Human nature is such that you start to conserve it, especially in a drought state. That's the first thing really is to make these water monitoring systems available, and they're easy to install yourself, and you strap it onto your water meter and you start getting this information, and you can now start making some decisions about when and what you do with your usage. That's a huge help. Without that, you really are hamstrung with trying to figure out what it is that you're going to do. They use these things called units. There's a reason that they chose that metric, because the way that they measured water came from the ag industry, and ag measures things in acre feet, which is a really unusual metric for a home. It just doesn't translate really easily to gallons. So they're trying to straddle both fences, and this is the way that they do it. My view is it just empowers the individual, and it empowers people to be able to make better decisions as to how they use their water. Most people have no idea. Do you use 500 gallons a day or 25? You just don't know. Typically what happens is when you start looking at your data, then you start looking at your water usage. Sometimes I'd say 10% of the time you'll find out that you have some leaks somewhere. Part of the reason I dug up my backyard was because I had this Labrador puppy that loved digging into the ground and ripping up my entire sprinkler system. And so I could never keep up. I was always going out there constantly and replacing tubes, and then I'd look at my monitor and go, dang it, still watering my dirt at 2:30 in the morning, and I got to go find that thing. Leak detection, it allows you to fix those permanently. So those are some of the things that you can do. Once you have the information, you can start making changes. Sometimes they'll maybe replace your shower head with something more water efficient, or maybe you'll look at your dishwasher, or you'll realize your toilets, or maybe you'll go knock on the door when your daughter's taking a 35-minute shower and you go, turn the dang thing off. So you'll start doing these things. They're not hard. It's just like you do with electricity. When you realize that you're using too much, if you're spending $250 go around, you turn the light off. Things like that. So you just take more care and you fix things that maybe you didn't even know were a problem beforehand. Depending on the community, the water utilities will maybe give you rebates for pulling out your lawn and replacing it with a xeriscape, for example, like I did. But let's see, normally those rebates are gone by the end of January for the year. I tried this last year. I replaced it last summer. I talked to them in June and they were laughing like, oh, that's a really quaint idea. They were gone by January 31st. There are some, the utilities will work with you and they earnestly try. Some utilities will have water conservation programs where you earn a little bit of a rebate and you'll get a little bit of an incentive. It depends on where you're at, but it just varies. There's nothing universal. That's also one of the interesting things about the water market is while the energy market tends to be bigger and broader and national in many ways, the water market is just tiny and regional. There's thousands of different water districts that are responsible for each little town and village and things like that. So it's very difficult. But it really depends on where you're at and whether or not you're going to get some help from the local community. But that's pretty much it. You're not going to find a lot of other resources out there in the community for you. I come from the energy market, and I think there's a perception out there that all these clean energy alternatives like wind and solar are really high tech. In fact, they're really old technology. And I mean that in a good way. Windmills have been around forever. And if you think about pictures of the Old West, there's always windmills out there because we've been using wind for energy forever. Solar was invented for the space program in the 1950s. to get electricity up in space where there is no other way to do it. It's really old but proven technology. We've been using that for a long time. And as we deployed more and more systems out there, yes, we innovate, but the innovation hasn't really come from the technology. It comes from what I call the financial engineering part of this. If you go out and you see these big, huge utility scale solar fields, for example, or wind farms, the financial spreadsheet that it helps you pay for that thing is actually a very sophisticated instrument. So there's things like renewable energy credits, where you can generate a credit for every kilowatt hour of clean electricity that you get, or there's tax credits for investing in these systems. Or if you're a company and you say, I want to buy as much clean energy as I can from either my rooftop or for other sources, you sign these things called power purchase agreements, where you agree to say, for every kilowatt hour that this system produces over the next 20 years, I will buy it at this rate, plus a little bit of an escalator, and that's how you do it. All of these different financial instruments are super helpful, and in fact, they now underpin the entire clean energy transition. Without these instruments in place, there would be no clean energy transition. I got to thinking, we have a scarce resource here in California, water. Why not apply some of those exact same methods to that? That's exactly what we did. If you are a local company and you're a local manufacturer and you're doing everything you can to save water or meet these very visible public water goals, and you realize you can't do it and there's a significant downside if you miss those goals, my answer to that is, we've got you, because we can go into that community and we can save water for you. We can go into those homes, we can install monitoring systems, we can install our app, we can begin this program of having all those homes that are in your community saving water. We can measure that, and then we can turn those savings into this new thing that we're calling certified water credits, which is very similar to what you do in the carbon market. You buy carbon credits. If you're a corporation in a community, you're basically saying, community, help me meet my goals, and the community does that. And this is a way to capture that. We save water for the corporation. We can capture that. We can validate that. That's the most important part, is we produce the data. When a corporation says, hey, I want to buy these 1 million gallons of water to offset my own usage, I can show them all of the data. You can prove to them that water was actually saved. They're protected from all of this greenwashing stuff that's going on. They have support for what they're trying to do. And when they say, look, we're actually a good water steward for our community because we provided 1 million gallons of water savings, they can prove it. They can go forward and they can say it confidently. I look at this as the ultimate democratization of their water management, because they can actually empower themselves. No government required, no rebates required. They can go out into the community and have other people save water for them. And the net effect to the entire watershed or that water basin is a savings of 1 million gallons. So what have we built? We built a marketplace. As we go through that, it should look familiar to you, because we built what I call an Amazon-style marketplace for certified water credits. Everyone buys stuff from Amazon. Everyone knows what an Amazon marketplace looks like. That's what we are doing with water savings. When you go into our site, here's what it looks like. And of course, we're saying zero out your company's water footprint instantly, because that's what this is built to do. You have an offset goal. You are now a corporate sustainability director. Let's get into that mindset. You are now looking to figure out how you're going to meet your water goals. You want to go out there and you want to buy the savings of others. And that's literally what you're doing. You won't physically take that water from them, but they are saving it. They have the data to be able to prove it. They have used less water, and that now has value. And now we have offered that up for sale to you. So this is what it looks like. You go into the marketplace, and the first thing that happens is it pulls up and it gives you a whole list. You'll see over here on the left are the states that we're going to be working in, at least initially. Categories: as a beverage manufacturer, these are the types of companies that are actually saving water. Right now, we just have residential that are saving water, but this has a list of categories that are bigger. If you have a big manufacturer who's actually engaged in some water saving activities, they can put those savings up for sale here on the site. But as you look here, you'll see there's a home in Arizona, there's a Costco, there's another home, and there's all of these different things. And some of these actually have savings in there already. So for example, this Arizona residential provider, this is actually a home in Arizona. This is not the picture of the home because we keep these private, but this is actually a home where we had the water monitoring system, and over a year and a half, they saved this many gallons. And so there they are. You as a buyer of these things, you can just go through these and you can start looking at these Here's a bunch of gallons. Here's a bunch of gallons. I think we have 9 homes in here that have actually saved. Here's more, all of these different homes. So you can see what it looks like. It's a marketplace. You can click on each one of these and it will show you the history of that particular unit's water usage. So it'll show you how much water they have used. It'll show you the data. It'll give you a general location for where they're at. So you click on that home and here's what comes up. It shows you in general where the home is, and we're not going to divulge addresses, and of course there's a privacy issue, so we're not going to give exact addresses. It tells you the water credits available and the water gallons saved. It shows the water history over time, so we can show you the exact history of what was used and what was actually saved, and then you can go through the history and show how it's ebbed and flowed over time, and it gives you the transparency that you need. And then over here, of course, if you want to purchase those, you purchase the credits and it takes you to the buyer portal. And it's just that easy. And you can go through there and do that. So let's say that if you are a corporation, you will set up a dashboard and you'll start, when we onboard you, we will set you up with a dashboard and you can tell us what some of your water saving goals are, and then we'll track it against your goals. And so if you buy these 10,000 goals, it'll say, hey, you only have X number of gallons left to go. Here's 20 more houses that have these available for you if you would like them. If you're a sustainability director who wants to see how certified water credits can help you meet your water neutral goals, please go to our website, fill out a form, and we will be in contact directly.